You know, we're up here. Today's the first day of session. Unfortunately, it only lasted an hour. There is, not a sense of urgency to get things fixed. If there was, we would have got right down to business and started fixing our state. So I'm off to a little bit of a disappointed start here. But my priorities for this session include fully attacking the corporate welfare problem that we have in this state. Billions and billions of dollars we give to favored companies and institutions. Meanwhile, the regular small businesses, the regular people suffer under this huge tax burden. Let's take that corporate welfare, let's take all the central planning money and apply it to across-the-board tax relief for all New York businesses and New York individuals who pay taxes. If we did that, we'd see the economy boom. I was pleased to hear our leader, Brian Kolb, talk about the 3 men in a room problem and continue his fight to have the minority conferences at a minimum represented in there. That would mean the minority Republicans in the Assembly and the minority Democrats in the Senate. More people in that room, I think, is good for transparency. It's good for making sure that every New Yorker has representation in that room when that $140 billion or so budget is negotiated. I think that's a small thing to ask. And if we're really serious about reform, that's the low-hanging fruit of reforming this institution here. You know, I have had some tragedies in my district that have to do with traffic safety. So among my priorities are also some changes in the penal code to make sure those who take lives with recklessness or intent with a motor vehicle are properly punished, because right now that's not happening here in this state. And one of the things we have to do here in Albany is fight off bad ideas. One of the bad ideas being kicked around as a so-called reform item is forcing the taxpayers to fund political campaigns, making John Q. taxpayer pay for the robodials that he doesn't want to get to his house. I think that's a terrible idea. They do it in New York City. It hasn't reformed New York City. In fact, what it's done, it's given another honeypot for corruption, because you have these campaigns that don't really need taxpayer funding because they're not competitive, and what a candidate will do is he'll hire his brother-in-law or hire his buddy with a taxpayer-funded portion of the campaign. I think it's a terrible idea. It's not reform. It's the antithesis of reform. One of the things we can do to fundamentally change this place is instead of going in the other direction, as some have suggested, and having full-time, year-long lawmakers, I think we go in the opposite direction. Let's spend less time in Albany. Let's reduce the lengths of the session. We can get our work done in 2-3 months. Let's get it done by April 1st, the budget, everything else that needs to be done, and let's get back to our constituents who we represent and perform constituent services and reduce the legislator compensation accordingly. A number of things I'm working on, but those are the highlights. I look forward to a very good session.